Hi friends, I'm Natalie Carey, a certified personal trainer. Today we are doing a totally body weight upper body workout, and it's designed to help you with your goal of getting up and down off the floor. So you don't need any equipment, but I do recommend having a yoga mat available to you. The first round, I'm gonna give you an easier option, and then on the second round of each movement, I might offer you something a little bit more advanced if you wanna challenge yourself, but it's totally optional. Come onto your hands and knees. We're gonna start with scapular push-ups. My hands are underneath my shoulders. I let my chest fall down to the floor, and then I pull my shoulder blades apart. Let the chest fall down to the floor and pull the shoulder blades apart, rounding the upper back towards my ceiling. When I come down, I'm not trying to push my chest and my head down towards the floor. I'm just letting it fall back into a neutral position. The emphasis of this exercise is that push away from the floor, that separation of the shoulder blades, and that slight rounding in the back up towards the ceiling. You might be feeling this in your shoulders. You also might be feeling this along the sides of your rib cage, where a muscle called your serratus anterior is. Let's do one more, and then coming onto your side. So I want both knees together. Walk your way down onto your elbow, and we're gonna raise and lower our hip up off the floor into a side plank. I'm gonna start with my hands both on the floor for support. I bring the hip up, and then I lower it back down. Hip comes off the floor, lower it back down. If this feels totally doable, you can eventually release that hand up off of the floor and only use the knee and the elbow to lift you off of the ground. And you should be feeling this in the butt cheek and in the oblique muscles that are closest to the floor. Let's do two more on this side. Last one. Okay, so now you can flip over to the other side, but the easiest way, especially if you have trouble getting up and down off the floor, is to roll yourself over onto that second side. So now your elbow's set up. Again, you can use that hand to help lift you up. Okay, let's bring the hips up off the floor, using both hands to support us. And if you feel confident, go ahead and bring that top hand over to your hip. As I'm lifting the hip up off the ground, I'm also pushing my hips forward a little bit and opening my chest, just to make sure that my core muscles and my glutes are the main movers here. Let's do two more of these. And relax. Okay, rolling onto your stomach. I want you to bring your elbows underneath you and your hands out in front of you. We're gonna place one hand now where your elbow was, press up, bring the other elbow up, and then walk your way back down. Again, I put a hand, come up, and then I walk my way back down. I wanna make sure here too that you are alternating which hands are doing the pushing and which hands are lowering you down. We wanna make sure we're even on both sides. So you may find that one side is stronger than the other. That's totally normal. Just try to make sure you're working them evenly in this exercise. Let's do two more, and then we're gonna stay on our stomach. Okay, if you need to, if that lower back is getting tight, go ahead, press back into a child's pose. You could also do a little hip shake out here if you need to, because we're coming back down onto the floor for some alternating superheroes. I'm gonna take my mic off and put it right here for me. I straighten out my arms and my legs here, and I'm gonna lift up my right arm and my left leg as my chest comes off the floor. So watch me on this first one. Then I lower down. Then I do the other side, lifting up and lower down. Okay, join in with me now. I'm lifting opposite arm and leg, and I'm trying to lengthen out from the foot and the hand as far as I can in each direction. Really feeling that length throughout my spine and my body. And you don't have to crank your head up. You don't have to look up in front of you. You can keep your gaze down at the floor. Your neck will probably appreciate that. And make sure you're breathing here. I know this can be hard to breathe in this position. Shallow breaths are fine. Just don't hold your breath. Let's do one more on each side. Last one. And I'm gonna have you roll over onto your back. I do want you to watch me on this first movement. It can be a little bit of a brain teaser. I bring one leg up off the floor, and then the other one is going to cross behind. So I've made like a figure 4 shape, but remember that bent knee is behind me. And then I'm gonna start to rock. You can use your hands if you want to. If you're feeling confident, you can rock up to a seated position. What a great trick. You can also just keep these small. It's up to you. So your choice of adventure today, you can roll all the way up to the seated position, or you can keep rocking back and forth. Or you can mix it up, make some variety here. Let's do 2 more of these rocks on this side. Don't worry if this leg doesn't stay straight the whole time. Okay, now we're gonna switch to the other side. So second leg comes up straight. Other leg goes bent behind it. I start to rock. I can either use my hands for momentum, my spine is rounded, or I can put my hands down on the floor to give some rocking. And if you feel good, you can start to rock up to that seated position. This should not feel jarring on your spine. It should feel gentle. So if it's feeling like you're kind of like putting some impact onto your discs, I want you to ease off. Maybe make a smaller rolling up and down motion. Remember, this is your time. I want you to take care of your body. Let's do 2 more here. Hopefully you're in a seated position. I'll have you roll yourself back around so we come into our quadruped position on all 4s. We're gonna repeat that circuit, and this is the second set, so I'm gonna give you some options on a few of the movements to make them a little bit more challenging. Totally optional. Let's start with the movement that we did in our first set, which was our scapular push-ups. The chest falls down to the floor, and then I pull those shoulder blades apart up towards the ceiling. If you feel like this is doable and you're ready for another challenge, I want you to join me when we push up our shoulder blades. Now you're gonna tuck the toes, lift up into a plank, lower the knees back down, release the chest. Push the chest away, tuck the toes, lift into a plank, knees come back down. We're gonna do a few more repetitions of that. When you lift into that plank, you're keeping the shoulder blades pulling apart. That's the hardest part of this motion. And you should feel your core muscles in your stomach activating to lift you into that plank. Let's do 1 more, and then we'll come into the side plank. Gently bring those knees down. I'm gonna walk my way over to this side so I can start on my right side for this side plank first. Knees are bent, they're stacked here. You can also have the top leg straight if you want, it's an option. I'm gonna start by having one hand down on the floor, and then we're gonna press ourselves up into that side hip raise and then back down. I'm using my elbow to lift me up. I'm also pushing those knees down into the floor, and if you feel confident, you can bring that hand off the floor. And here's your chance for a little bonus. As you lift up, can you lift that top knee? You don't have to lift the leg, you don't have to separate the ankles. Just do like a little clamshell motion, opening of the knees and back down. That's your option for this second round. Let's do 3 more of these, keeping the elbow right underneath the shoulder. 1 more. Easiest way to get to the second side, roll over onto your stomach. My back is turned to you, but that's great because you can see this from a second position. I place that top hand on the floor to start off this movement, and I'm lifting the hips and then lowering them back down with control. If you feel ready to go on this, you can place that top hand on the hip And let's start to raise that second leg in our clamshell as we lift up off of the floor. That's the option on this second round. Remember, it's an option. I think all workouts should have options to be easier, to be more challenging. That way all bodies get to participate, or if not all bodies, more bodies at least, right? The goal is always at least more. Let's do 2 more reps here. Ooh, booty is feeling that. Last one. Okay, and then we're gonna roll over onto our stomach for those cobra push-ups. Not cobra push-ups, they're like little climb-ups. Give your butt a little shake out. Lower back's relaxed. We press the hand up, up, we walk back down. Up, up, we walk back down. Now, if you want a harder variation here, I've got you. Bring those feet up off the floor. Start to come up into a knee plank, back down. We're up in a knee plank. We come back down. Remember, you're trying to alternate which hand is doing the leading. So it's not always the same side that's working. Remember, you can stay in that cobra position too. Both are great answers. We're just trying to strengthen the arms here. Let's do 2 more, then we'll push back into a child's pose for a little break. You're up here. Put the feet on the floor, widen the knees out, push those hips back. Give the butt a little wiggle. Trying to relax that lower back before our next movement. And then walk your way back onto your stomach for our alternating superhero. Again, I'm gonna put my mic down in front of me. Arms and legs are lengthened. I lift opposite arm and leg up, relax it on the way back down. Other side comes up, control it on the way back down. When I'm lifting up, I'm not pressing this second hand into the floor. All of the lift is coming from those working arms and legs. I mean, I suppose you could use it to press into the floor, but it's kind of a cheat. We're really trying to strengthen the back of the body here. So if you're pressing with that non-working arm, we're not really getting as much out of this movement. So try to make it the back of the body that's lifting you. Remember, shallow breaths. It's kind of hard to breathe with your stomach pressing into the floor. 1 more. And then come over onto your back. However you'd like to get there. We'll do our figure 4 roll-ups. Now, on this one, I'm gonna give you the option to try and stand up a little bit, to try and lift up. So if you were working on just the rolling back and forth, stay there. If you are feeling confident in getting your feet on the floor, we're gonna try and get the hips up off the ground. So this is what it looks like. I start my roll, and now I'm gonna plant the feet on the floor and try to get the hips up off the ground, bring it back down. Plant the feet, hips up off the floor. You're using some momentum and you're also using some strength. If that feels impossible, you can stay here just placing the feet on the floor, or you can just do the rolling back and forth. Remember, this is what works for you today. The figure 4, that bent leg is behind the straight leg. Let's do 2 more on this side, trying to lift the foot up off the floor, or lift the hips up. Last one. Okay, we're gonna switch to the second side. Second leg comes straight, other leg bends behind it to make a 4 shape. We start to roll. You can use your hands for momentum. Now place the foot on the floor all the way up. Now let's try to get the hip lifted before we control it on the way back down. And I do encourage you to repeat this workout. And when you come back to it another time, see if you have even more control when you let the hips come back down towards the floor. Because I think that's a really hard part of the exercise. It's not just getting up, it's the controlling on the way down. Let's do 2 more here. Last one. And then I want you to stay in a seated position. Grab some water if you like. We're gonna stay seated here instead of lying down. If you have weights, you're welcome to use them on this next exercise. We're gonna do some body weight Arnolds, which are great for your chest, great for your shoulders, which we need our upper body to help press us up off the floor. So sit any way that's comfortable for you. You can also sit in a chair for this portion. It's up to you. Choose your own adventure. All right, we bring our hands into our arms into 90-degree angles. Bring the elbows as close as possible and then reach them up straight up overhead. Elbows as close as possible, reach up overhead. When I'm doing this, I know that if you have a larger torso, like larger breasts, larger stomach, it may be more challenging for you to get those elbows to touch. That's totally fine. Do what you can. The other challenging part of this movement is getting these elbows all the way straight at the top. However, we ideally do want elbows and shoulders to straighten up. So while I want you working in a pain-free range of motion, I want you to challenge yourself to stretch those fingertips as high up as you can. Let's do 2 more. Great. Spinning around, my hands come behind me. You can set your hands up facing any direction you want. Some people like them this way. Play around with what works for you. I want you to try and go into tricep dips. You can keep your butt on the floor for this first set, bending the elbows and lifting yourself back up. All of the bend here is coming from the elbows. We're trying to keep that chest lifted up towards the ceiling. Trying to not let the head roll forward. We want it proud. You should feel this in the backs of the arms. This might also feel like a chest or a shoulder stretch for you. If you spend a lot of time hunched over a computer or your phone. Let's do 3, 2, 1. And I want you to sit up, give your arms a little rest. We're gonna go back into a similar position. This time I just want one hand behind you. And this movement is you lifting your leg and reaching towards it. Lower it back down. So we're using our upper body here to support us. We're trying to keep our chest lifted, so our core has to work here. And then we're also working on lifting this leg up. So there's a little bit of leg involved here, a little bit of hip flexor and core. 2 more and then we switch to the other side. Okay, sit up, switch legs. Shake those arms out if you need to. I'm gonna stay here so you can see it from this second position. I sit up, this hand is supporting me. I reach forward, leg lifts. I lower it back down. Now I'm using that hand behind me to help press my torso up to meet that leg. If you can't keep that leg straight, if you need to bend it, that's fine, but I do want you to work towards keeping the leg straight. It'll be a big hip flexor, big core workout. Let's do 5 more. 4, using that back arm. 3 to push myself up. 2 and 1. Woo! Okay, give those legs a little bit of a shake out. We're gonna repeat those 3 exercises one more time. I do have a couple of more challenging options for you if you want to take advantage of them. So sit however is comfortable for you. I'm gonna bring one leg out to the side for this set of Arnolds. If you wanna add in some dumbbells on this one, you can. Arms up into a 90-degree angle. I bring elbows together. I reach up. So this is a great motion for your chest and for your shoulders. Because when it comes to getting up off the floor, we need all of our muscles to help us out. One reason I'm working out nowadays, I'm almost 40 years old. I'm very excited about my upcoming birthday. And one of the things I'm working on is making sure that I can move as I get older. So if you're doing the same, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're working on this physical skill to get up and down off the floor more easily. Last one. Woo, shoulders must be on fire right now. Let's set up for our tricep dips. Hands behind us, wrists facing any way that's comfortable for you. We have that easier option that we started with of bending the elbows and then straightening them out. If that feels easy, you can join me by lifting the hips up off of the floor and bending the elbows here. So now your butt's lifted off the floor and you are tricep dipping your entire body weight. Good for you. Either option is fine with this workout. Let's do 10 more. 10, 9, 8. Keep going at that tempo if you can. Remember to breathe. Bending the elbows as much as you can, straightening those arms up. 2, 1, lower the butt back down, shake those arms out. On our last movement, I do have a harder option for you as well. You can continue to work on lifting the leg up towards that hand with the arm behind you. Let's see what that looks like. Time starts now. I lift up, I lower back down. I'm using this back arm to push me up. If that's feeling doable, let's now get that butt up off the floor. Woo! There we go. Let's just do 5 more. These are hard. 4, 3, I'm using that foot on the floor to lift me up. Last one. Nice. Switch over to the second side. Second arm comes behind you. Let's start by lifting the leg up and controlling it on the way down. And if you're ready, let's lift the hip as high as you can off the floor. Now, as high as you can might be a tiny ½ inch off the ground. That's fine. Or it might be this big, powerful hip lift. Either one is good. Go for it. Let's do 5 more. I'm using this second leg to help lift me off the ground. 2 and 1. Yes, you are all finished with the hardest part of this workout. Sit any way that's comfortable for you. Let's take a moment to stretch out. Bring one arm across, pull that arm in for a shoulder stretch. Give yourself a little mental thank you for doing something good for your body today. Let's switch to the other side. That arm comes across, I pull it in. I hope you worked up a little bit of a sweat just like I did. This is an exercise, or this is a workout that you can do anywhere you're at. You can do it traveling, you can do it at home, you can do it at the gym. That's what's really beautiful about bodyweight workouts. Relax those hands. I want you to do some neck rolls. Let your head circle around your neck. You can make these circles small or big, whatever feels good for you. If you'd like to work with me on a one-on-one basis, I do personal training one-on-one with clients. Switch to the other direction. So please feel free to reach out to me. I have a lot of different offerings depending on where you're at and what you need. All right, you're done. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe to my channel for more exercises and workouts like this. I'm Natalie Carey. Thanks for being excellent to yourself today.